If you commit to reading 10 pages of a book a day, that is one 300-page book a month. Hey friend, welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler, and today I'm going to be answering one of the questions I get asked the most in my videos, which is how do I find time for all the reading when we're talking about, books within curriculum, reading the curriculum books. How do I make the time to do that? So I want to give you some real life strategies based on what I've been doing and things that have worked for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody, but maybe you can take them and adapt them to something that would work for you and your family and your schedule. If it's your first time here, welcome. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button because I will be posting all kinds of video about homeschooling, curriculum, reviews, books. That's basically where I live, is in a world of books. So I love to post all kinds of videos reviewing those books for you so you can make informed decisions about the curriculum that you're buying. So if you've been around my channel for any length of time, you've probably picked up that I read a lot. Now there's been times in my life where I haven't been able to do that because of illnesses, family things going on, whatever the case may be. But I'm typically reading anywhere from 1 to 4 books at a time. Yes, I read more than one book at a time. It can be done, even though I feel like it's getting harder the older that I get because my mind doesn't want to go in that many directions. My mind doesn't want to multitask as much as it used to as I'm nearing 40, but I can still do it. If I pay attention, I can still do this. And I'm going to give you some real tips from what I've been doing, so hopefully that will be helpful for you. Right now, I'm reading 2 main books plus the curriculum book. So a lot of curriculum comes with like a pack of readers, and you'll find this a lot with Bible, with history, and language arts. And I like to read the accompanying books because it just helps the kids understand more, and it helps me understand more about whatever topic it is. So the first thing that I've been doing is I've pretty much been fasting from most social media. I know there's tons of videos about this out there. I haven't really done this a whole lot. If I'm going to be honest, I have kind of a social media addiction, and most of that is because I am a social media influencer. So it's really hard for me to kind of pull away from that, but I've been pulling away more and more, and I've even set time limits on my phone and my laptop for how long I can be on websites like Instagram and Facebook. So that's the first thing I've done. I've really cut out a lot of time wasted when I could have been doing other things. Second thing I'm doing is after I get up in the morning and I have my workout finished, so like when I'm getting ready, I'm getting dressed, I'm blow drying my hair, making breakfast for everybody, that type of thing, drinking my coffee. I have like a 60-minute break right there where I'm not really doing a whole lot up until, I'm going on with my day. So I put in my AirPods and I listen to a lot of the books on audio. Now, one of the cool things about the Generations curriculum, especially their literature components, I've been able to find most of the books on audio for free on YouTube. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't buy the books. I absolutely buy the hard books for my kids. They don't listen to it on audio. My kids don't even like audiobooks. And a lot of these books, to get the in-depth study, you really need to buy the book. But for me, who is not looking to have like this in-depth study, I really need to know what's going on in the book. I need to know the plot. I need to know the characters. I need to know the basic story of what's happening. And a lot of those minute details might get lost while I'm listening to an audiobook. I'm totally fine with that. I just need to know the basics of what's going on because I am teaching curriculum to two different sets of curriculum, one for my oldest, one for my youngest, because they can't do a whole lot together. So I have double the books. I can't do a whole lot family style. So to kind of cut down on a lot of that and make things go faster, audiobooks are the way to go for me. Plus, it really helps out because I can still do the laundry. I can clean the house, you know, while okay, so we volunteer at our church and we clean. And one of the things that I do while we're cleaning the church, I pop in my AirPods and I'm listening to a book. So I have been able to listen to, you know, hours upon hours of books by doing that. And, you know, when I'm doing those mindless tasks around the house, those AirPods are super helpful. And it was one of the best gifts my husband's probably ever bought me because I have been able to get so much more reading done that way. So highly recommend AirPods. And they even have, if you don't have AirPods and you're worried about spending the money for AirPods, they have really cheap AirPod knockoffs on Amazon. I bought my husband like a $25 pair. They work just as well, if not better, than mine, and you can pair it the same exact way to your phone, your laptop, your computer. It works the exact same way that mine work, and mine are the Apple ones. My husband sprung and got me the Apple ones a couple years ago because he's crazy. He should have just got the knockoffs because they work just as well. So just a tip for you. So if you don't have the time, and I know a lot of people just don't, you know, they have a lot more kids than I do. One thing that I usually do is I have to stay one chapter ahead of them. As long as you stay one chapter ahead of your kids in whatever book you guys are reading, you should be fine. As long as you, and really, it's not that hard to stay one chapter ahead, especially in kid books, because in children's books, the chapters are a lot shorter. So, you know, really look at how short the chapter is. One of the things that I used to do is I would time myself. I would crack open the book and I would see how long it would take me to read an average chapter in that book. And then what I would do is I would say, okay, I need, let's say it takes 10 minutes on average. I need 10 minutes a day to read one chapter. As long as I stay ahead of the kids, I can do that. And sometimes they only have to read like 3 chapters a week. Maybe they only do the curriculum Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you only have to have 30 minutes to stay ahead of them. That's totally doable for most people. Now, again, with the media and the social media, assess where you can cut time down. Especially if you are in a time crunch. Let's say you just don't have time for this type of stuff. Where can you cut 15 minutes from your day to read a chapter? Look at your TV usage, look at your phone usage, look in these settings and see where you're spending a lot of your time. Are you doom scrolling? I'm a doom scroller and I'm still a Candy Crush player. Don't make fun of me. I still play Candy Crush. It's one of those things that I do to kind of like unwind. And I notice that like when I get stressed out, sometimes that's the first thing that I grab. So I'm trying to remedy that. So instead of maybe grabbing my phone to play Candy Crush, I pick up one of the kids' books or I pick up my Bible instead. And I'm trying to kind of remedy that a little bit. I've really had to do a lot of work in that area. The Lord has been working on me in that area. And I've learned a lot, let a lot of things go and learn where I'm needed most. And that's not at my job. That's not YouTube. Although I love y'all, you know, I'm not needed the most here on YouTube. I'm needed most in my family. So where can I cut that time out to help my family rather than try to help my business? So, you know, there's a little real talk from me. But, you know, it's real life. And if you can't do one chapter a day, commit to, okay, I'm gonna read 10 pages of this book a day until it's done. Here's something really to think about. And I read this in a book last summer from Douglas Wilson at Canon Press. If you commit to reading 10 pages of a book a day, that is one 300-page book a month. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing with my life? I could have totally read that book by now. And when I realized that, I started reading so many more books because what I realized was after I got to that 10-page limit, I was like, you know what? I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. And I would read sometimes 20 or 50 pages a day because I started it. But at the very beginning, I just started 10 pages a day because I was super busy at that time in my life, and I didn't think that I could commit to much more than that. But I'm so glad that I did because now I'll sit for, you know, an hour and read a book. Sometimes I'll go outside and I'll just, you know, take an iced tea or a coffee and I'll sit and I will read my book, and it's lovely. And I have read so much, and you know, I have the same concept when it comes to the kids' books. If you commit to just 10 pages a day, you're gonna get through a whole 300-page book a month. And for many kids' books, they're like 150 pages. So that's really like 2 books a month of your kids' material. So think about that. And as busy as I am with a business and a household to run and homeschooling, I have made time 60 minutes a day to planning curriculum. And doing this over the summer has been very, very helpful for me because now I feel like I'm so much further ahead. I'm so much more prepared. I'm not going to open these books at the very beginning of the school year and be like, okay, what do I do? I'm going to already know what to do because I have prepped these books way ahead of time and I have made the work so much more simple for myself. So I'm really glad that I did this summer. I don't know why it took me so long to do this. I know the last couple of summers we've had a lot of things happening and you know, it may not have really been possible for me to do this until this year, but I'm really glad that I sat down and decided, okay, I want to get a couple weeks ahead. And when a couple weeks turned into 8 weeks, and it just seemed like a really good middle ground for me. So now when I go into the school year, I know these books, I'm familiar with them, I know the material, and what I've been doing, and I already outlined this in another video here on YouTube, but I've been taking this notebook and I have been outlining the chapters in this notebook. So I know the main points from each chapter, so when they read it or we read it together, I will already know the questions I want to ask them and I'll know the answers to it. I will know the main points. I will know everything that they really need to know before the school year even starts. So this is going to be really helpful for all of us and I'm really glad that I took the time to do it. And I wasn't sure if I could because man, that's a lot of reading. But totally worth it. Hands down, this has been so worth it and I'm really glad that I did it. Alright, so hopefully you found some things that will help you in this video for the upcoming school year. I know we're kind of, you know, midway, almost done with summer, depending on how, you know, you take your summer break or even if you do take a summer break. But I thought that this would be a good idea to post because I get asked this question a lot because you guys see me reading a lot and you guys see a lot of the books that I read. And people just reach out and go, I don't know how I could fit this kind of reading into my daily life. And really, I'm not reading that much a day. I'm just reading a chunk a day. And, you know, all of that really adds up. And, you know, every month I have a new, you know, stack of books that I'm reading because I get through these books so quickly. So if I commit to, you know, 10 minutes a day in each book, by the end of the month, I can, in less than an hour a day, I could read 6 books a month if I wanted to. If I wanted to read 10 minutes a day of each book of 6 books. So I like to be prepared. And doing this has really helped me prepare for any type of situation pretty much. So as long as I'm ahead of them, it's going to be really good for me in the long run. That's all I have for this video. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and happy homeschooling. And don't forget to read a book.